Yes, I would kill Hitler if I could, but it's absolutely impossible. We're going to take a little wisdom from an outside source here. Larry Niven. Now, Larry Niven talked about time travel because it's been mentioned in a lot of science fiction novels, and he's a science fiction writer, but he's also a scientist. He writes hard science fiction. He writes science fiction that is based on scientific principle. And his main discussion about time travel, which he has in this book, talks about why the main problem with time travel and the reason it wouldn't work is just conservation of matter. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. If you've taken a science class, you should know that. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. From the second the universe was created, there was an amount of matter, and that amount has never changed. It has never decreased or increased, and it cannot increase or decrease. Now, if the time machine was made out of something, I mean, it has to be made out of something, then when you go back in time to the time when Hitler was around, before the time machine existed, the things the matter that that time machine is made out of is not in that time machine yet. It's somewhere else. It's in the earth, or it's in like ores, or God knows where it is, but it's not in that time machine. So you have literally taken the amount of matter that that time machine has in it, and you've doubled that. You've added matter to the universe, which can't be done. Either you simply won't be able to go back in time, or you will tear the universe. I don't know. Who knows what the fuck happens if you're capable of adding more matter? So that's like pretty much the main reason why that's just ridiculous, and there's no way to go back in time. The other thing is, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read a little passage from here, um, from Larry Niven to talk about time travel a little more. Fritz Leiber used conservation of events to good effect in the Change War stories. In Try and Change the Past, his protagonist went to enormous lengths to prevent a bullet from smashing through a man's head. He was sincere. It was his own head. In the end, he succeeded and watched a bullet-sized meteorite smash into his alter self's forehead. Probabilities change to project history. This is the safest form of time travel in that respect. This is the fatalistic model. Um, but one does have to remember that the odds have changed. Try to save Jesus with a submachine gun, and the gun will positively jam. But if you did succeed in killing your own 6-year-old grandfather, you would stand a good chance of taking his place. Conservation of events requires someone to take his place, and everyone else is busy filling his own role, except you, an extraneous figure from another time. Now conservation of events acts to protect you in your new role. Besides, you're already carrying the old man's genes. Certain kinds of time travel may be possible, but changing the past is not. So there you go. Because the truth is, honestly, if someone could go back in time and change the past, then the past doesn't have to wait for that to happen. It doesn't have to be like, okay, we have to wait for the future when someone's going to go back and change the past. No, if it's a time machine, that shouldn't matter at all. It should already have happened. If someone has traveled back in time and changed things, that's already happened. That should have already happened from the dawn of time. I mean, because what? We have to wait for the future when the time machine's going to go back? That doesn't make any sense. If the time machine's going to go back, then it's going to go back, and then it should have gone back already. So, it's impossible, and I can't even consider your question. But while we're on the subject of time machine, I do just want to quickly mention another quick thing about time travel, which is that you know how there's UFO sightings, and some people say that they've seen flying saucers and gray men with 3 fingers and big eyes. Here's the coolest theory on that. Now, I'm not sure about UFO sightings or if aliens have been seen. The most common kind of alien that is seen is the grays. I'm sure you've heard of that. The big-headed, big-eyed, the classic alien. Um, Here's a theory on that I've heard. So I've heard several theories. One is, they're from a different galaxy and examining us. They're probing us because they want to find out about the species on this planet to see if they can, talk to us. They are in cahoots with the government. And one person I even saw in Skeptics, I don't know if it was Skeptics magazine or a Skeptics magazine, but it was saying that they come out of the core of the Earth. They live inside the Earth, and the Greys are crawling out. But that doesn't really explain the flying saucers. So here's the theory I heard that seems to make the most sense. Humans do eventually create time machines, okay? But it takes us so long to do that by the time we create time machines, we are a different species. It's so long in the future that we have evolved. We've lost a couple fingers. Our eyes have gotten much bigger. Maybe we've lost, some hearing and smelling. And that's why and basically, like, because we've adapted different senses. Basically, the theory is that these grays that we see in these aliens are actually higher evolved forms of humans from the future. And they're not traveling from space, they're traveling from Earth's future. And flying saucers aren't spaceships, they're time machines. coming back in time. And that's why the same technology has been seen all through history of aliens. There's, and the same kinds of aliens. There's been sightings, recently of grays and in saucers, and there's been sightings. There's pictures of flying saucers in, like, I think a Renaissance painting of the Madonna. There's several accounts in Egyptian writing that seems like it's flying saucers coming out of the sky, and that's how it would be. It's not like time travel would just be like, oh wow, suddenly the present suddenly changed because someone changed the past. That would already be the case. Time travel doesn't wait. It's time travel. There's nothing to wait for. You're simply there. So the point is that humans maybe took one big trip in one flying saucer, but they weren't humans anymore. They were these weird gray, what we call alien things. And they did one trip through all these historical hotspots, and to us it looks like this vast history of alien sightings, but really it's just maybe like one crew of a couple of these advanced humans in one time machine doing one quick trip to a couple different spots through history, and it just looks epic to us. Anyway, I don't really know if I believe any of that, but it's an interesting theory. Point is, time travel is really not possible. I guess I'll close with another quick comment from Niven, because he really has this subject covered. So, okay. Okay, he has a lot of different things going on here. Suppose we found a clump of particles already moving backwards in time. Exactly what Roth and Overseth and their brethren might find to be experiments. Now we write messages on that clump, simple messages, because information can be sent. That doesn't hurt the conservation of matter law. But from our viewpoint, we start by finding a message and end by erasing it. And if it went wrong, we find a message. We bet on him and he loses. Now what? Can we unwrite a different message or just refuse to erase it at all? But if it did work, we could make a fortune, and it violates no known physical laws, practically. So, I mean, that's like something to consider from a thing there. And then, of course, here's a main one. Defensive time travel 11.2, known as the theory of multiple time tracks. Let there be a myriad of realities of universes. For every decision made by any form of life, let it be made both ways or in all possible ways if there are more than two choices. Let universes be created with every choice. Then conservation of matter and energy holds only for the universe of universes. One can move time machines from one universe to another. You got to admit it's flamboyant. You still can't visit the past, but you can find a universe where things happen more slowly, where Napoleon is about to fight Waterloo or Nero is about to ascend the throne. Or instead of changing the past, you need only seek out the universe where the past you want is the one that happened. The universe you want unquestionably exists, though you may search a long, weary time before you find it. Ersatz time travel becomes a special case of sideways in time travel, travel between multiple time tracks. The what-if story has fascinated many writers. Even O. Henry wrote at least one. From our viewpoint, sideways in time travel solves conservation laws, grandfather paradox, everything. Anyway.